Volkanovski, remind you now, he only weighed 144, so he was basically 10 pounds, basically under the weight. But he wiped it out.
A much smaller guy just because he's at the end of the road, but the fight's so big and the money's so big, he's gonna have to take it. I bet he retires after that fight.
I have to start playing catch up in rounds 4, 5, 6. Believe me, by the 7th round, Canelo is going to be a little muscle fatigued, right? We've seen that.
Shannon Sharpe forcefully warned Canelo Alvarez about meeting Terence Crawford, suggesting that the fight could go badly for Canelo. He stressed Crawford's greater speed, talent, and stamina, implying that the fight could be more than a loss. It could be the end of Canelo's reign in the boxing world. Canelo Alvarez revealed that he had a retirement plan after a 20-year career as a professional boxer. He confessed that after so many years in the ring, his urge to explore life outside of boxing gets greater, and that there are times when he simply wants to do something else.
Has retirement ever crossed your mind? Have you ever thought about that?
I always say like 37 is good time to go. It's not because I can't be in the boxing anymore, but you know, sometimes you need to do something else. So I'm being in October I turned 20 years as a professional fighter, so it's meant a lot of years. So
Eddie Hearn, Canelo Alvarez's longtime promoter and close insider, has generated further conjecture by saying that his upcoming fight with Terence Crawford could be his final fight. According to Hearn, the Mexican superstar may be nearing the conclusion of his legendary career, and the Crawford challenge could be the final test before he quits. This claim is not made lightly. Hearn has seen Canelo through several stages of his career and knows the physical and mental toll the sport has had on him. Canelo, who has been in the professional ring for nearly 2 decades, may be looking for closure in this battle against one of the most technically gifted boxers of his age.
Do you see that fight now differently based on how Canelo performed against Skull Eddie?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah? Oh, wow.
It wasn't just the fact that he couldn't cut the ring off. I just feel like the timing now, the age, Canelo is amazing. I mean, not just because of his ability and what he's accomplished, but the fact that he still has the desire for those training camps and those fights. But I just feel like that desire might be fading a little bit. Not because of his love, but just because of age and life. Do you know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, like the Crawford fight will definitely get him up for it. But I was actually watching that fight thinking I wouldn't be surprised if he retired and actually didn't fight Crawford, because I don't think he'll want to lose to Crawford, a much smaller guy, just because he's at the end of the road. But the fight's so big and the money's so big, he's gonna have to take it. I bet he retires after that fight.
Eddie Hearn was worried about Canelo's recent performance against John Ryder, particularly against William Skull. He noticed indicators of age, such as slower combinations, a loss of sharpness in head movement, and a marked decline in striking power. The once feared explosiveness that marked Canelo's mid-career appears to have subsided. Bernie, one of Crawford's close associates, showed extreme faith in Terence's potential to defeat Canelo. He referred to Crawford as a legend rather than simply great. What's more shocking is the change in support from Mexican fans. While Canelo remains a national idol, even some of his most ardent fans are turning to Crawford. It's not just about fans, it's about identifying talent, momentum, and hunger. According to Bernie, Crawford's performances have won him global respect. Even Canelo's supervisor knows how hazardous but is. When admiration spreads across boundaries like this, it says something about Terence Crawford's legacy.
Yeah. Now, the man said, now it's both good. Say, you're not going to beat me. You say, I'm telling you, I guarantee I'm going to beat you. So you know what I'm saying? That's how Crawford is. That's how he feels. He believes in his heart. And you could tell it. You could look him in his eyes. You know what I mean? And a lot of people believe that Crawford going to win this fight. And a lot of Mexican people.
Yeah, they supporting him. They supporting him.
A lot of Mexican people. You so they got their formula why Crawford gonna beat him. But it's a tremendous fight. I think Canelo, like I say, is a living legend. And everything that he do. A lot of people don't like him. A lot of Mexicans don't like him, but I love him. I think he does everything good in the ring. I think from swag to everything. I just love Canelo. I can't take it away from him. He had them little allegations and everything. Yeah. And that's a damper on him. But I try not to focus on that. You know what I mean? I know he got in there with the baddest guys, the toughest guys, and he came through with flying colors. So I give him all the credit, going up there and fighting Bivol when nobody knew who Bivol really wasn't paying attention to him. That man was a 25-year-old champion, the reigning champion, title defenses under his belt, and young and good. And Canelo fought him. So, you know what I'm saying? That was a challenge. You feel me? Had the height, had the reach, had a lot of, you know what I mean? So I give Canelo none but credit. I thank him for allowing us to get this fight. And you see what Crawford said. I didn't get to Canelo got to fight these guys with the names. I didn't necessarily get to fight all the guys with the names when I wanted to. But I got him. Yeah, that's the how it coming around full circle. And when God got it for you, nobody can be against you. And so I think he's the most deserving fighter of that outside of Benavidez. You know what I mean? Yeah. Besides that, but Benavidez still doesn't bring the super fight dynamic to it. Yes. It's a really good fight with Benavidez, but this is a super fight. Exactly. We have legends fighting because David Benavidez has yet to become a legend. He's still growing in the sport. Absolutely. Crawford is a legend. 14 years in the sport, 10 years as champion, 11 years going on. You understand? Undisputed 2 different times, fighter of the year, all those different things. So, like I say, and the mystique of Crawford is legend in itself. The mystique of Crawford. So, I mean, so it's a super fight. Again, I thank Canelo Alvarez for taking the.
Former middleweight champion Kelly Pavlik gave a candid and honest assessment of the contest. Contrary to popular assumption, he saw Crawford as the more powerful and successful boxer. Pavlik praised Crawford's raw ability, tactical prowess, and incredible physique. More telling was his criticism of Canelo. Pavlik thinks Canelo has fought conservatively in recent fights, with the goal of avoiding defeat rather than dominating or knocking out opponents. This method may not be sufficient against someone as eager and active as Crawford. Pavlik draws a strong comparison. One man aims for greatness, while the other tries to hold on.
Class, and he's a great fighter. I mean, that's it. Crawford is so talented. He's got so much ability in boxing, his boxing ability. And he's a bigger guy too. He's almost every bit as big as Canelo, right? So that's what makes it tough. Like, yeah, Canelo's used to fighting guys coming down from 200 probably, at light heavyweight. And Crawford ain't. But it's just too hard to pick on it because of Crawford's ability and boxing skills. I'm not going off of Canelo's last fight. The guy he was fighting was in survival mode pretty much. He was just fighting not to get knocked out. When you fight a guy like that, you're not going to look good, right? I don't care what anybody says. When you fight a guy that's running around trying to survive, it makes it hard. So I don't go off of that, but this fight is going to be interesting. I mean, I would almost have to kind of lean with Canelo, but I'm not making that pick. Just saying, guys, so nobody come at me. I'm going to sit back and enjoy this one. I'm not worrying about anybody, saying, hi, you're wrong, or talking. But it'll be a good one.
Renowned trainer Robert Garcia fueled the talk, noting that Canelo has turned away from aggressive knockouts. Garcia stated it plainly. Canelo is tired. He has battled successfully since he was a teenager. Canelo has carried the weight of fighting on his shoulders for over 2 decades. The accuracy and calculated risks of his early career have given way to a more conservative approach, which is supposed to conserve energy and prevent damage. Garcia's comment is not critical, it is a recognition of Canelo's wear and tear. He has been through wars and carried boxing on his back, and the cost is now becoming clear inside the ring.
Why is it that Shiraz was able to knock out Berlanga but not Canelo?
Because Canelo doesn't go out for the knockout anymore. Canelo's just now, we've seen in the last few fights, he just does enough to win. He did the same again Munguia. He dropped Munguia, but then they didn't want to finish him. Charlo, Berlanga. He wants to cruise through the fight. He's up there, and not in age because he's only like 33 or 34, but he's
fighting since 15.
He was 15. a lot of training camps, a lot of sparring matches. So all that takes a lot out of your body. So he takes care of his body too. So he doesn't go all out because he doesn't want to just finish his body. He knows he still has a few more years and a few big fights where he wants to take care of himself and not punish himself too much. That's why he hasn't been able to knock those guys out. Not because he can't. I think he just does enough to win. I think Shiraz also has great power, man. I think Shiraz has the power that nobody believes.
The Crawford-Canelo bout, according to popular entertainment analyst The Grown Up, has the ability to make history. Beating Canelo, one of boxing's most known global stars, would propel Terence Crawford to legendary status. It's not just about the names anymore, it is about memory. However, showbiz also emphasized the double-edged sword of greatness. If Crawford dominates too well, conspiracy theories may appear. People may wonder how a smaller boxer beats someone like Canelo. In the age of social media, greatness is sometimes viewed with mistrust. The bigger the win, the louder the noise. For Crawford, this might be both the apex of his career and the beginning of a story war with which he will have to cope beyond the fight.
Is going to attempt to do something that is so incredible, so magnificent, so amazing as a fighter and for his legacy, in trying to beat Canelo Alvarez, the 168-pound undisputed champion. My fear is, if he does that, if he accomplishes that, if he is able to succeed in accomplishing such a magnificent goal, people will immediately discredit Terence Bud Crawford and his victory, calling him a drug cheat.
Veteran sports broadcaster Stephen A. Smith, known for his frank views, made a clear forecast. He thinks Terence Crawford will win this bout on points. According to Smith, Crawford's discipline, ring IQ, and pace control might lead to a unanimous decision over the larger but slower Canelo. According to Stephen A., while Canelo remains dangerous, his performance in recent fights has fallen, whereas Crawford thrives in longer fights. A decision victory, especially after 12 tough rounds, would solidify Crawford's status as not only the best active fighter, but also one of the greatest of the modern period.
You got a love for boxing.
Love
Who
boxing.
gonna win the fight, man? That's coming up, the biggest fighter in boxing.
Crawford.
Huh?
Crawford. I'm not hesitating. Crawford. I'm not even hesitating. Crawford.
You gonna stand on that all the way to September 13th?
I love Canelo. Crawford will beat Canelo. Crawford will beat Canelo by decision. I can't see anybody knocking out Canelo Alvarez. But I do believe that if you can box and you can move, that you can beat Canelo. You can outpoint him.
That's right.
When I think about Canelo, one of the things that I don't like about Canelo, despite his greatness, and a neck as wide as Broadway for crying out loud.
Right.
It's like almost every shot has to be a power shot.
It's a power shot, yeah.
That's not beating Crawford. I will confess, I think Gervonta Davis's trainer, Cal, I think he said this. He said Crawford could find himself in trouble if he decides to engage with Canelo, because Canelo is the naturally bigger, strong fighter. And I don't care that Crawford's gotten bigger, and I don't care that Crawford's gonna go in there just as big as Canelo. Canelo is accustomed to fighting at the weight, and Crawford is not. And Canelo is a genius in this regard. You don't see him show up for fights not ready. He's always ready.
always prepared.
He's always ready.
He's
always prepared. So I think he's the slower fighter though. And I think that Crawford is brilliant as a boxer. And I think that between switching to conventional and southpaw, using his jab and movement, I think that Crawford is going to outpoint Canelo because he's faster. But I don't think he's gonna.
Terence Crawford boldly stated his thoughts prior to the fight, noting Canelo's size and pressuring tactics. He is not rattled, he is simply quietly prepared for any situation. His approach shows both respect for Canelo and confidence in his own flexibility. He distinguishes himself by finding a balance between humility and focus.
Man, I'm feeling good. You know, work has been going great, and you know, fight time we're gonna be prepared to put on a great show for you guys.
Has this been in your mind? We've been talking about it forever. Did you feel like this was eventually going to be the case, that you and Canelo were going to eventually get in there?
Not at all. Not at all. I didn't think it was, a fight that he wanted. So I didn't really know. But, thanks to Turkey, Al-Sheikh, he made it possible. And, we got one of the biggest fights in the last decade, happening at Allegiant Stadium, September 13th.
When you get in there, what do you expect? Everyone's going to make, a size difference, but what do you expect when you get in there with Canelo?
I'm expecting Canelo to be Canelo. He's the bigger man. I expect him to, box a little bit, but I also expect him, to try to walk me down and be the bigger man. So, we expect everything in there.
Another member of Team Crawford, Antonio, claimed that Terrence already has a game plan in place, which they feel would exploit every flaw in Canelo's present shape. Crawford, he says, is training both physically and tactically. He knows when to shift gears, when to counter, and when to apply pressure. But Antonio also gave praise where it was due. Canelo still has a shot. However, he highlighted that Canelo would need to fight with the same energy and explosiveness that he showed in the Caleb Plant duel. That combative, unwavering Canelo would have a better chance. Anything less, and Crawford's killing may be too much to bear.
Terrence gotta be Terrence, bro. He's a real deep thinker. He processed fights like nobody else. And he's processed this Canelo fight. He's seen it. He went through it 2 or 3 times already. He knows how this ends. You can tell the way he shadow boxes. He visualizing Canelo being right there in front of him. You understand? Look at the movement. That's all you gotta do, look at the movement. And that's the type of master boxer that Canelo is gonna be facing. And the only thing I say is Canelo hasn't faced an opponent like this in a long time. You know what I mean? I think Canelo's gonna have to go back to the Caleb Plant fight and look that good, that active, that, you feel me, moving with that type of grace to beat Terrence Crawford. Because weight ain't gonna make the difference. It ain't gonna be the weight. It's gonna be the skill set.
In a stunning twist, Canelo lauded Crawford in an interview, putting him ahead of some of boxing's most famous personalities. This great praise shows Canelo's admiration for Crawford. Coming from a boxer who shared the ring with Mayweather and was promoted by Oscar, it suggests something more. Canelo seemed to consider Crawford as a possible successor to boxing greatness rather than just another opponent. Such remarks also suggest that Canelo is aware that this bout will be unlike any he has previously encountered.
The best fighter he has ever faced. He says that he believes that Terrence Bud Crawford is better than legendary Hall of Famer Bernard Hopkins, Oscar De La Hoya. There's no shot there. Tito Trinidad. But the shot came in where he said that he believes he is definitely better than Russian superstar undisputed light heavyweight world champion who beat Canelo Alvarez. I thought pretty handily, 9 rounds to 3. I thought 10 rounds to 2, but 9 rounds to 3 at worst. He beat Canelo Alvarez in Dimitri Bivol. And then he said that, but this is not a shocker, he said this before, that Terrence Crawford is better than Floyd Mayweather. Now, I personally don't believe that. I believe that Floyd Mayweather is a better fighter. But nonetheless, Terrence Crawford is a great in his own right. But this just goes to show that Canelo Alvarez has learned something, a thing or two from Floyd Mayweather. He showed some things he took from Floyd Mayweather from their fight, which he lost every single round to a 36-year-old going on 37-year-old Floyd Mayweather. In 2013, he lost every single round to Floyd Mayweather, right? Floyd Mayweather always build up his opponents. Always, okay? He always build up his opponents. He never tear down his opponents. He learned. If you tear down your opponent, how you get credit for your opponent? For the win.
The conflict could finally come down to this. Terrence Crawford needs to be himself, slick, strategic, and ruthless when required. His natural rhythm and style have defeated every opponent he's faced. To have a shot, Canelo must show unprecedented durability and composure. He must stay unfazed by Crawford's accurate and frequently stinging shots. If Canelo can walk through the fire and keep pushing, the odds may shift in his favor. However, if he slows down, becomes frustrated, or struggles with Bud's angles, the fight could quickly be lost. It's a fight of willpower, style, and endurance.
If he's able to be aggressive, not be affected by Bud's punches, and just keep, attacking and imposing that will on him, and then Bud being the dog that he is, and just saying, you know what, I'm gonna go, I'm letting loose. I think that can change the effect on Bud, and I think that will be the way that Alvarez can win that fight.
Yeah, good. Yeah, so what do you think? Obviously, if Bud remains slick, what outside of that could cause Canelo to lose?
That's all for today's show. Stay tuned. Until the next.